Hey, this is Sam Black with my third match with White Black Warriors in Standard. On the play, Sand will do. I like to have one drop, but you just can't always have one. And everything else that's going on here is pretty good. I don't think it really matters which order I play these lands. They're just going to fetch basics, and I'm just going to have both colors on turn 2. I don't want to draw a swamp, so I'll fetch now. Obviously, I make the more mana efficient play here. That's better in every way, except that it exposes the better creature to removal, but it has the option of letting me Silkrap and Kythian the next turn, so I like it. Obviously, I could Wasteland Strangler for an extra power here, but even though I have 2 of them with only 1 of them enabled, I think Wasteland Strangler is pretty powerful against Jeskai, so I'm going to just lead the Kythian. Kythian takes a roast, that's fine. Hoping to draw any land for Gideon. Didn't, but have another solid threat. Obviously, I want to play the thing that is a good threat rather than the threat that is an answer, particularly because the counter-argument of holding this until I draw a 4th land is somewhat validated by the fact that if I draw a 4th land, I'll just play Gideon. There's a Crackling Doom. I'm going to play the Wasteland Strangler here. I want to try to get some pressure into play, and again, I already have another Wasteland Strangler to use the thing that I Silkrap with. And this asks for an answer that'll let me resolve Gideon potentially. That Tasker is really bad for me. My removal doesn't answer it, and it threatens Gideon. I think I have to just play Gideon, plus it, and hope my opponent's out of removal. I could play both of these, but that seems pretty bad too. I don't know how I win that way. This way, at least, if my opponent doesn't have a removal spell, I can start to turn things around. Alright, I get to untap with Gideon. That's a good start. Don't think I want to emblem here. Assume I'm just making a 2/2 and playing a couple Woe Reapers. Attacking is really bad against Crackling Doom. I think Crackling Doom would have been used already, but well, what are the merits to attacking? Obviously, I probably get 5 damage, get Gideon out of range of getting killed by Tassiger. If I want to chump block with a Woe Reaper, then I can emblem and keep Gideon, but at that point I'm embleming him with 1 Woe Reaper in play, which doesn't seem impressive. I think the damage isn't worth very much, and I just want to make the 2/2, but I'm going to lead with these guys. see if they elicit any kind of response. I suspect that my opponent's plan is just to activate Tasigur here. Counter draw. Alright. You can handle Woe Reaper getting countered. So does Gideon want to attack at this point? I really don't think so. Go on Knights. If I can get my opponent to try to block with Tasigur, then Wasteland Strangler becomes a removal spell for it. Obviously, Wasteland Strangler turned on when my opponent delved away these cards. Painful Truths. Alright. It's kind of annoying. I have to chump block Tasigur here. So I can Silkrap the Soulfire Grandmaster, or I can Wasteland Strangler. Pretty sure it's better to Wasteland Strangler. And I have to decide what to put back, which is whatever is worst for my opponent to Tasigur into, if that's a consideration. Don't think it is. I think I just don't want to give my opponent options for Jace, so I think I just put Bloodstained Mire back. Not that Jace is really going to happen, but I just don't see myself wanting to give my opponent one of these removal spells over even something like Painful Truths or Command that's just more mana intensive. I don't think this decision matters very much. And is there any argument for attacking with Gideon? Get my opponent down to 12. Can potentially just ignore the hit from Tasigur, Silkrap a blocker, and then attack for another 8, putting my opponent down to 4. That line is pretty bad against Mantis Rider, since I guess it just forces me to chump block Tasigur. But making a 2/2 lets me threaten to double block Tasigur, which I kind of like. I'll make the 2/2. Don't know that it's right. Don't really feel good about trying to play long against Tasigur being in play, but I could also just draw a removal spell for Tasigur at any point. Jace isn't a problem. My opponent can't activate Tasigur this turn. So here, I'm obligated to chump block, and at that point it's just better to double block, because while it looks like a removal spell is blowing me out in combat, really it's the same as chump blocking and then a removal spell hitting the other creature. So I just force my opponent to use a removal spell now. I guess it turns Valorous Stance into a removal spell when it wouldn't have been otherwise. Did not consider that corner case. Alright, so we're going to Silk Wrap Jace. And I'm going to play Bloodsoaked Champion. Now the concern is another removal spell on the 2/2 would allow Tasigur to kill a Gideon. And if my opponent doesn't have a removal spell and I just jump block, I'm not getting anywhere. So I think at this point I do want to plus and just get 5 damage in and get Tasigur out of range, or get Gideon out of range of Tasigur by itself, so that it's going to either cost another card to kill it or let me get another hit in. That was really perfect. So now I can Silk Wrap Jace. Which 8th the negate, which is even better. Valorous Stance Tasigur, which I guess I can do in a sec. What am I going to do with this Gideon? So my opponent is going to flip Jace and then be able to cast one of these spells from the graveyard. These spells are actually not very impressive in this spot. Painful Truths is the biggest deal. I think I want to be trying to kill my opponent. I think I attack with Gideon. Jace jump block. Interesting. Looks like my opponent's planning to try to ride the Tasigur to victory, which obviously won't work. Let me make sure I chose the right mode. I know I did, but let's try target creature. I want to be extra cautious since I would obviously lose if I just made Tasigur indestructible instead of killing it there. Alright. Soulfire Grandmaster is annoying, but manageable. So my options here are plus Gideon, wake up Shambling Vents, and attack with everything, which gets Gideon out of range of dying to Soulfire Grandmaster by itself, and threatens to put my opponent down to 1 with the ability to gain life with Soulfire Grandmaster. Or instead of animating the Shambling Vent, I could play Bloodsoaked Champion, which seems worse. I could make a 2/2, that also seems worse. Yeah, I think the play is the one where I just try to get my opponent dead. Alright, awesome. That Valorous Stance came just in time. Thought that one was going to slip away. I very rarely lose to this deck, so I was worried that was going to change, but it did not go that way. So, I like Wasteland Strangler a lot. I think I like Dispel. I like Stasis Snare. I think I like Mastery, but I'm not totally sure. I don't think I like Secure, but I'm not sure about that either. I definitely like Silk Wrap and Stasis Snare, but I don't think I like Valorous Stance as much. Valorous Stance and Ultimate Price are interesting. Both don't kill Mantis Rider. Both do kill Tasigur, but Ultimate Price kills the little creatures like Jason Soulfire Grandmaster, which I think is better than countering the removal spells. So let's start with Ultimate Price over the other thing. Marty Strike Leader is horrible. Gideon I have mixed feelings on. I think for me the main question here is basically like whether I want Gideon or Dispel or Ultimate Price, or I could see cutting just some random creatures. And I could also see wanting Duress. I think I like Mastery because I think that my opponent has to go more removal based. I think I like Silk Wrap because my opponent's not going to be cutting any of those cheap creatures, and I want to make sure my Wasteland Stranglers are on. Bludgeon Rager is kind of medium. I could see cutting a few of those. Really don't know about Gideon. It's a little clunky, but it can also be... I've had a lot of trouble beating Gideon with Jeskai decks before. I'm going to cut the Bludgeon Ragers, which I don't know if that's right, but I think I feel good about Dispel. They have a lot of good, expensive instants. I'm going to keep this. I like Bloodsoaked Champion a lot, and I think Silk Wrap's pretty good. I'd obviously much rather have a second creature in my hand, but I think this is good enough borderline hand, and that was like the perfect card for it, because I'm a little mana heavy and a little threat light, and a little removal heavy, which is good for Mastery because it lets me play long games. Dragon Master Outcast is nice because I can ignore it. Yeah, I'll play Chief of the Edge. This incentivizes an Outcast block, which is fine. My opponent's likely going to kill the Chief, and then I won't get to buy back the Bloodsoaked Champion, but that's okay. Getting Dragon Master Outcast in the graveyard is nice in case I draw Mardu Woe Reaper. And I could also just have my opponent not kill this guy, and then get to spend this turn putting Bloodsoaked Champion into play, which I think is better than casting Master the Unseen. Though it is close, since I could actually activate Master the Unseen next turn, but this way I can play Master the Unseen and Silk Wrap and get an attack in. Fetch blue-white with this. I didn't bother doing the upkeep fetch because I don't think there are any one black mana instants that my opponent might play that can be cast with only 3 cards in the graveyard. So now my opponent's down to 7, and I have 6 power in play and a Mastery, so things are feeling good. The damage output early in this deck is very impressive to me. And I'm so far ahead that I can ignore these random hits from Mantis Rider. Don't see any reason not to lead with this thing. Get that Dragon Master Outcast out of there. it's going to be hard to lose from here. Alright, easy match. The matches against Jeskai tend to be, in my experience,